time to put the backsplash in on the kitchen. And what I like to do is let's go to the first floor first of all and use that section line just to look at it. I like to put my backsplash in as an extrusion, and we'll go just across here. And what it's for, of course, we all have a kitchen, or you have used a kitchen or have seen a kitchen. And when you are preparing food or washing dishes, you might splash a little bit of water. We don't want to splash it on the wall. Typically, you'll see that it's about 4 inches tall. I like it to go right up to the base of the cabinet. So what I'm going to do is I know we're going to need to select a reference plane, and maybe I can select something here, but what I'm going to do is go back to the first floor and just put a reference plane in. I put that reference plane in right here at the back wall. And reference planes don't print. On our print setup, we've told Revit not to print the reference plane, so you don't have to worry about them being in your drawings when you present them. So now we're going to go back to that section, which is right here as a tab. I'm going to Architecture Component drop down, Model in Place, and I'm still going to put it in the casework family, and whatever the Revit late names it is fine with me. Now we're going to do an extrusion, and it says you got to pick a plane. Now I might be able to pick a plane by snapping it, but I made a reference plane, but I didn't give it a name, so I wouldn't be able to select it. So let's go back to the first floor. Small error, but let's click on this. No, I guess we have to exit out of this. So we have to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it kitchen. Okay. So now I've labeled that reference plane kitchen. We'll go back to here again. We'll go back to Architecture, Component, Model in Place, Casework. Okay. Whatever it is, defaults to. I haven't found a use for that. Some of you may be watching this and say, oh boy, there's a real good use for that. The way that you might work this program, but it's not anything for me. I haven't found any value to knowing what those names are. Anyway, we're doing an extrusion. Now we'll go down and we're going to pick a reference plane, and it's the kitchen. Okay, we'll say okay to that. Now it's an extrusion, so we have to draw the boundary. So we'll go from here all the way across to the window casing, down to the bottom of the window casing, all the way across, and then back up. I'll use the align tool to get it exactly right, since I didn't have something to snap to there. That will come all the way back across here, and I think that's where we started. Okay, so align tool, we can align it to here and here. So now if I click on that and use the eyeglasses to say isolate category, you can see the perimeter that I've drawn. Right now it's 2 inches thick. I only want it to be maybe 3/4 of an inch thick, but I don't know which way to do it with this. So we'll leave it at 2 inches thick for now and just say okay and okay. And then reset temporary hide. There is a section line going through here. I'll just move it over and go to that view. And then I can see there's my backsplash that I made. It's 3 feet off of my reference plane, and then it's 2'10" off, just like the countertop, but I can drag it back, which is what I'm going to do. And about right there. That might be a little bit too thick. I could edit it. Let's see if it'll let me do that. Will it give me a distance? No, well, we'll put one in, see. I want to be accurate. I'm going to put a dimension in there. Letting me. All right, well, I saw it was 1 7/8 inches. So let's just pull it back, maybe to there. Say okay. And let's look at that in 3D. See what I did. I'll do the other side also. Let's do it in realistic. And there's my backsplash. So I like it to go all the way back. I think that's certainly more expensive, but it's much nicer looking. Now, the reason I do the perimeter in the elevation view is that it's easy to modify it if I don't get it exactly right. But if I were to draw this extrusion in plan view, and then I would have to put a void space here where it is because you can't modify the extrusion boundaries this way if you've drawn it in plan view. And I'll go to the first floor and show you exactly what I mean by that. I could say architecture component, model in place, casework, okay, and that's whatever it is. And then I could draw my extrusion here. And I would get it exactly that 3/4 of an inch. And then I come all the way down to here and then back. And then I think Revit has a close. I know AutoCAD does. That was nice. Okay, so there we go. There's my extrusion. Let's take a look at what I just did though. We have this section. We're going to drag it over here and flip it. Right click, flip section. Now I've already have it open as a tab. Now it looks like that. And I think that extrusion is behind this countertop. When is this? No, that's a countertop. So let's hide that. Hide element. And yes, there is another one behind it. That's what I drew. And see, I can drag it up, but I want it to go all the way up to there. And the only way to do that would be to drag this all the way up to here, that I know of anyway, and then put a void space here, cut a void space and a void space there. And that just doesn't seem like the ideal way to do it. So we'll just delete that entirely. And we'll go back to the first floor. Let's put in another reference plane and we'll call it kitchen 2 this time. I just start here, come down to here, and when I need to define the plane that this sits on, I will be able to. And let's try going to this view. I'll draw the perimeter here, architecture component, model in place, still casework, okay. Whatever Revit wants to call it is fine. We're going to do an extrusion. What plane are we going to use? Well, now we go down, we're going to say the plane that's referenced is going to be 2, kitchen 2, okay. Now, I can say that the end is 0 and the beginning is 3/4 or the other way around. And I should get a 3/4 inch thick extrusion now. So let's do it. From here to here, I want the backsplash to go all the way up to there. I think it looks a little nicer. And then we'll go all the way back to this gypsum board, top of the countertop, all the way back. No, I think we need to drag it up right around the back of this range. Back down. And then over. I want to snap to the end. Okay, that should do it. Let's have a look. And it did. Accept it again here. Now let's look at that section. And it should be 3/4 of an inch thick. There it is. We get that 3/4 of an inch. Back to the first floor. I still have to put it back here, but we can look at that 3D view. Expand it out and we can see it. There it is. There's the backsplash there. Okay, so I still need to do it on that wall, first floor. I have a section that I am going to drag down to there. Go to the view. And then I will simply put the oh, and again, I forgot the reference plane. So I should put a reference plane in there so I can reference my starting plane. Then we'll call it kitchen 3. Okay. Now we go back to the side to side and architecture component, model in place, casework. Okay. Whatever the name is always fine with me. Someday someone might point out a use for that, the way that I do my work. And I've learned a lot from my students over the years. So by watching them. Okay. What's weird here is this. So this started at the plane and it went back 3/4 of an inch. So we can edit this in place and change that to -3/4 and apply it. Yeah, that's better. So now it's on the outside of the gypsum board. So it did it to 3/4 inch thickness, but it did it away from me instead of towards me in the model. And so let's take another picture of that. Well, the table will be in the way in this picture. We can delete it if we want to. I don't see why. We can still see everything that we want to see here. Zoom E. I'm going to save it. And then I will render it. All right, let's render it. So cloud rendering, render in cloud. Let's get a high resolution. See if we get any missing materials. Message, nope, we have all the materials there that we want. And so here's the final view showing the backsplash. I think that's a reflection. I don't think that that's the actual location of the backsplash. I think it's in the right spot. It kind of looks like it's inside of the range hood or very close to the face of it, but I think that's just a reflection from the stainless steel, just like the light is reflected on that stainless steel, which is another thing to me that's really incredible about these renderings. So anyway, that's the putting in the backsplash, getting close to finishing up the kitchen. We can add some accessories, some pots and pans, some dishes, maybe some flowers and some appliances, countertop appliances like a mixer or something like that. But it's looking pretty good.